Hey, hey, Groovers. How you doing? I've got so many windows open. Hey there. Hi, Ruth. G'day, will do. Good morning to you, I think. Good evening to anyone in the Southern Hemisphere. How you doing, Ruth? Just trying to get Facebook to load as well. So, all right, it loaded. Don't know what's happening in Facebook land. I can't mute it. Here we go. All right, we're muted, I think. Hi, Annette in Facebook land. Here we go. It's a problem with Facebook. I couldn't find it in my timeline, so I clicked on the announcement when it started, and it opens up. Hi, Adelaide. How you doing? So come aboard, everyone. We're expecting you. Got some interesting things to chat about tonight. Even though I gave you guys a bit of fair warning, we'd look at the Four Corners episode on the Ruby Princess. It doesn't matter if you haven't watched it, but holy shit, it's ignited some discussion topics that I think we should have a look at. I was going to share a story too about an Australian girl who's been stuck on a cruise ship in the Caribbean for 70 days or something, and is finally back in Australia. Oh, thanks for the hearts on Facebook. Don't forget to hit the likes if you're on YouTube. Cherie, how are you, gorgeous? So, yeah, I've found a story that I thought we could chat about if I ran out of things to talk about, but I think the Four Corners episode is more than enough. But yeah, I found a story about a girl from Wollongong, an 18-year-old who got stuck on a cruise ship where she worked for the last 70 days because of COVID-19 on board that ship. But it actually sounds like they did the right thing. But we'll chat about that another time, because I've also just found, looks like one of our commercial TV shows, A Current Affair. Oh, hang on. I thought that was a new article. It's not. I want to read that, not tonight, but I will read that at some point, because I'm doing this little chart of all of the passenger testimony. But even if in Four Corners, they commented a couple of times that all of the passengers they'd spoken to on that second cruise, the one we're looking at, the wreck of, were consistent. So it's pretty interesting stuff. Did anyone watch the Four Corners episode? Also, if anyone wants to jump up on panel and chat with me about it, feel free to. I'm more than happy to put a link. You will need to, hey, Mel over on Facebook, you will need to come to YouTube if you want to jump up and have a chat about it. I'll put the link to the YouTube-y stuff in the Facebooks. So, yeah, if you would like to jump up, I can put you on a panel via YouTube and the platform I use over there, if anyone does join in Facebook land who'd like to come across. And the same, obviously, for anyone in you didn't have to do your homework, Cherie. Anyone who's already on YouTube, if you would like a link, if you'd like to chat, you're more than welcome. Don't worry if you've had a couple of wines. I am having a cup of tea, but you're quite welcome. I've had boob flashes on this channel. Trust me, if you're holding a glass of wine, it's not a problem. But, yeah, I watched it in full and I've taken a shitload of notes about it. But I've also highlighted things that I think are really worth us discussing tonight. I'm not going to go through everything in detail. I mean, I'll give you a sort of summary of what it covered. But I want to talk about specific things that popped out of it. And I have to say, after watching the Four Corners show, my leaning towards the cruise line being held accountable is even more, I'm even more convinced they're in deep shit. But by the same token, they're a multi-billion-dollar company, and, you know, but New South Wales Health, it's not looking good for them either. Even though we've got fingers being pointed left, right and centre we'll cover what Four Corners covered, but yeah, New South Wales Health, major fuck up as far as that show went. And I didn't get the impression they were favouring one party being more guilty than another. It was very factual. There wasn't a lot of sort of hyperbole or over dramatics or anything. It was very, very factual. And I also, once I've gone through the Four Corner stuff, and I don't want to spend too long going through it, but once I've gone through that, I've got a very unpopular opinion that I'd love to pose to all of you guys and see what your views are on it. And it's a bit victim blamey, but it's certainly ignited a lot of discussion underneath the YouTube version of the Four Corners show and also on forums and so on. So we'll chat about that at the end, get a bit unpopular opinion-y. All right, everything's looking good over on Facebook. Facebook peeps, I do try and jump over to you guys a little bit to see if you're chatting at all, but if you come over to YouTube, you can get involved in the conversation and I can see what's going on. It's a bummer that Facebook and YouTube don't speak to each other in your comments, even though me posting stuff on Facebook shows up. If you guys say anything or you arrive, I've got no idea unless I'm jumping backwards and forward. So Four Corners, well, it started off with a bit of detail, just basic information about the cruise industry, and Carnival Princess Cruises, the owners of the Ruby Princess, have over 100 ships. Just in the US alone, it generates $130 billion, the cruise industry, not just the Carnival ships. But these guys are a bit cheeky, even though their headquarters are in Miami. They're incorporated in Panama, which means they don't pay corporate income tax, but it also helps them dodge quite a lot of regulations regarding international waters and all sorts of things. But what it basically went through in a lot of information, a lot of detail at the start, it talked about the cruise before the one that we're looking at closely, which we have talked about a fair bit. But, you know, shit was hitting the fan on that first cruise. And it was also on that first cruise, the Diamond Princess, another one of their ships, was all over the papers, all over the media, all over the world, because that was a monumental disaster as well. Although at least Japan had the intelligence to not let them disembark. There were quite a few people that spoke about the first cruise that were really quite interesting. Come over to the YouTube side. Hey, Claire Bear, you saw it. You're more than welcome to take a link, Claire Bear, if you want to chat. You don't have to cam up. You do need to backstage so I can verify you. But if you'd like a link, if anyone would like a link, let me know. I'll pop it in chat. And, yeah, Ruth's telling everyone on Facebook to come to the dark side. Some hellos to the peeps in Facebook land. Adrienne, hello. Julianne, Christina, Deb, how you all doing? If you do want to click that link to YouTube and come over and hang out with us over there, but I will jump backwards and forwards a little bit. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of people spoke about the first cruise, and the reality is they knew on that particular cruise that there were people with COVID-19 on board. So then that one arrives into Australia, into Sydney on the 8th of March. And we've talked about this a lot, but, you know, there were major delays because we've looked at passengers from the second cruise, the Rekov cruise, who talked about the delays in them getting on board, and they were being told that the ship was being cleaned and so on. But we got to hear the passengers on board, their stories of what it was like on board waiting to disembark. But, yeah, they were basically bullshitted on the cruise most of the time. Quite a lot of the passengers, again, had really similar stories. They were being told things were under control. They were told that an 80-year-old had tested positive for COVID-19. But they were also reassured that there wouldn't be any issues with that. it was pretty interesting stuff. With the Diamond Princess, a similar kind of story. They were informed a passenger had tested positive. They, of course, as you all know, ended up being stuck there for 14 days in Japan when they weren't allowed to offload the ship. They had 14 days of quarantine, but they'd also, after the announcement about a passenger on board having COVID-19, they'd been mixing for over 24 hours before they were put into quarantine. So highly contagious, did its thing pretty quickly. The Australian government, as you probably remember too, sent a medical team over to Japan to rescue Australians. Anyone that was testing positive wasn't allowed to come back to Australia. But one of the interesting people was Dr. Kentaro Iwata, who's an infection control specialist, and he blatantly said what happened with the Diamond Princess was a massive failure. The cruise line allowed the spread of disease. They weren't mindful of the high number of elderly passengers. And he said there's no way they should have let that first cruise, the early one that came back into Australia on the 8th of March, there's no way this cruise liner wasn't aware of what was going on, and they were being blatantly negligent with the Diamond Princess. So the fact that they let that first cruise leave Australia was really fucked up. They weren't his words, they're mine. And just the stats on the Diamond Princess, they ended up with over 700 people catching COVID-19 and at least 13 deaths. Just on the death thing, and I'm going to jump ahead a little bit, one thing Four Corners did say at the end was that there's now over 850 people that have tested positive to COVID-19 directly linked to the Ruby Princess, the Rekov cruise, but also at least 26 people are dead. Now, I've still got the official figures that I can find everywhere, still says 22, the 20 Australians and then the 2 internationals. They didn't explain where those other 4 came from, and I've been Googling like crazy, and I can't find anything that says over at least 26 people are dead, but maybe they know something, I don't know. Kind of interesting. So many lies, so many lies. Would you like to come up and chat, Claire B? You're more than welcome to. Hey, everyone over on Facebook. A few more people over there. Serge, how you doing? Toby, how you doing? Lara, g'day. Peter. Like I said, if any of you, I'll pop the link again. If you want to come over to YouTube, you will get asked, if you haven't already, to create a YouTube channel, but it's quick, painless, and you don't have to upload cat videos for the rest of your life if you join it. But it just means if you come over to YouTube, you can jump up on panel if you want, and you can also chat in the chat. Bet they are staff and don't count as penal. Could be, Ruth. I just thought it was really interesting that they said at least 26 and over 850, because the figures we've been working on is around maybe a little bit over 700 and 22 confirmed deaths. But, yeah, who are those other possible 4 or more? You're listening while cooking dinner. That's good, gorgeous. You enjoy doing that. What are you having? It is a massive cover-up, Deb. It is. And we'll get to that in a minute because, yeah, there's some juice. So I am, like I said, just going to cover the main issues. I've highlighted some stuff that really stood out. And then I do want to pitch an unpopular comment at the end. It's not really it is a bit unpopular, but I think we do need to talk about it. I think we do, because a lot of the passengers on the second cruise had concerns before they even got on the ship. So, yeah, I want to go down that road for a bit of a chat. Now, we had the Diamond Princess, and that was stuck in Japan. They didn't let them disembark there. So they're part of the Carnival Princess cruise line. Then some of you might remember there was a cruise ship off California that was also not allowed to dock or disembark. Well, that was the Grand Princess, another ship in this chain. And then, if the alarm bells weren't ringing with the Diamond Princess, then maybe they should have been with the Grand Princess, but nope. But, by early March, the world knew enough about COVID-19 and what was going on. And it was obviously, and a bit ironically and unfortunate that 4 days into the wreck of the Ruby Princess cruise, that was when WHO declared COVID-19 a global pandemic. But it's not like that day was suddenly when everyone went, what is this coronavirus of which everyone speaketh? They had a lot of sick people on the first Ruby Princess cruise, the one that came back to Sydney on the 8th. 360 sick passengers and crew. The passengers were told on that cruise if they weren't feeling well to come forward. So, records of 360 sick passengers and crew. They did 9 COVID-19 swabs, and they were under pressure to get the second cruise, on board, everyone on board, and head off again. So the ship's crew had been ordered to do flash cleaning and disinfecting. One passenger was told by a crew member the ship was being fumigated, and that it was safe to sail, even though she was a recipient of an organ and kidney, I think, and she was traveling with her elderly mother. She's standing on the dock in Sydney wanting to know what the delay is all about, and they said the ship's being fumigated. She already knew she was compromised health-wise, plus, she's traveling with her elderly mother. So that was her statement early on in the show. New South Wales Health were waiting for the 9 test results, and they explained that was the delay as well. But anyway, it was given the all clear to set sail, and cruise number 2, the one we're talking about, the wreck of, that kicked off, headed out of Sydney at 11 p.m. on the 8th of March. Quite sadly, it does talk about Maureen Dawes is one of the passengers who's interviewed, and she's the partner of Len Fisher, who's one of the Tasmanians who died after being on the Ruby Princess. Then they went through what happened when they got to New Zealand. By the time the ship got to Wellington, a lot of people on board were really sick. And then, of course, Napier is where they were all allowed to disembark and frolic in beautiful Napier, and 24 people ended up testing positive there. That was a huge COVID-19 cluster for New Zealand. And then in the middle of March, Prime Minister Scotty from Marketing, Scott Morrison, announced that no cruise ships were to arrive in Australia from that date. And it was actually a new regulation as well, but the Ruby Princess was given an exemption. And that's where is the federal government responsible bit comes in. And the Ruby Princess told everyone on board that they'd be heading back to Sydney earlier than planned, but there were no changes on board. There was no quarantining, nothing. Homemade fish and chips. Oh, I want some of that. I think everyone does. Hey, Lexi, how you doing? Now, I've changed from being the cruise director to the purser. What was his name? Gopher in the Love Boat. That's me tonight. So the regulations that were brought in by the federal government in early March also upped the mandatory reporting of illnesses on board cruise ships, which included the flu, with a far stricter regime in terms of reporting and timeframes in which to do it and so on. They took 13 COVID swabs on the wreck of the Ruby Princess. The crew were wearing masks, but everyone was still mingling and going off to see shows, including a Rod Stewart show. I paid attention to this. The ship told New South Wales Health, even though they've got staff members, crew members wearing masks, they're doing COVID-19 swabs, and people are getting sick way back when they were still in New Zealand, they told New South Wales Health that 1% of the passengers, in fact, less than 1%, were showing any sort of signs of any type of illness. We also know, too, from the episode I did the other night, that we've now got a crew member who's tested positive for tuberculosis. So New South Wales Health, based on this less than 1% of people are sick, gave the order, you are free to disembark. What happened, though, and we've already talked about this because it's come out a bit in the Special Commission of Inquiry, the doctor hadn't provided an updated log. So New South Wales Health were, based on the figures that they were given and the fact that the ship said it was such a tiny number of people, gave the all clear. But we now know that the doctor forgot to send New South Wales Health the updated log. And, yeah, her literal defence was, I forgot. So, yeah, there's a massive gap in information, but Four Corners rather cheekily suggested, is it a cover-up, when they were talking about all of these communications and lack of between the ship and New South Wales Health. On the last night, they're all crammed together. There's footage of them partying on. There's no social distancing. And yet, despite that, the captain, the doctor, the crew all knew that there were sick people on board. So here's when it gets even juicier. I'll just see if anything's being chatted about. Well, yes, something is. Ruth is craving sweet potato chips. They do go well with fish. They're delightful. You're right. And Patty Lou over on Facebook, g'day. If you want to come to the dark side, to the YouTubes, click that link and see where it taketh you. And, yeah, anyone, like I said, if anyone wants to jump up and join in the chat, more than happy. I'm not making out I'm an authority on this. I just love talking about it. It's like it's an awful real-life story, but it just gets better and better. Well, you know, in terms of what's unraveling, like the tuberculosis thing. Isn't that insane? Or the Queensland woman that's had COVID-19 in her system for 10 weeks since she got off the Ruby Princess. Tested positive last week. She's got a dormant strain of COVID-19. 10 weeks. Anywho, so here's when we get even juicier. At 7 p.m, the Carnival Port officer, so the person who's based on land in Sydney and a representative for Carnival Cruises, following a message he got from the ship, booked 2 ambulances. This was at 7 p.m. on the 18th of March. He said that they needed 2 ambulances. One person had a heart condition and the other one had a lower back condition. Now, they also, in that conversation, when the ambulances were being booked by this dude, there was discussion about people wearing PPE because, you know, when you've got lower back pain, you need to wear a face mask. And also flu symptoms were raised in this conversation. So that escalated to the supervisor at the AMBOs. And the AMBOs then contacted the New South Wales Port Authority, saying that they suspected there was COVID-19 on board the ship. And then the New South Wales Port Authority told the Ruby Princess to stop their progression into Sydney. You love listening to me talking about it. Thank you, Deb. Hi, Amanda. How are you? Gorgeous. Good to see you. A dormant strain. I know. Well, this is it. There's a woman in Queensland who tested positive to COVID-19 last week who was a passenger on the Ruby Princess, and they used the word dormant and latent. So they believe she contracted it on the Ruby Princess, but it's taken 10 weeks for her to test positive and show symptoms. I always take a swig of my tea the wrong way. Dr. Norman Swan on an episode of the CoronaCast podcast last week talked about it, and he said that it is possible but very rare. But isn't it ironic that it just happens to be another Ruby Princess person. I mean, I don't know if I should feel sorry for anyone in this or not, because so many people did dodgy shit and so many people covered stuff up. So where we are now, we've had the New South Wales Port Authority has said to the Ruby Princess, stop right there. You're not letting anyone off the ship, because the Ambos contacted them and said, 2 ambulances have just been booked. These are the reasons. But in the conversation, this person's talked about PPE and everyone needing to wear it, including our staff. They've mentioned flu-like symptoms. We think this could be COVID-19, because you've got to remember this is the 18th of March, so it's nearly a week since WHO had declared a global pandemic. And even when WHO declared it on the 12th of March, there was a lot of discussion, you might remember back then, about how they took their time. It took a long time. Like, people were well aware of shitty things to do with COVID-19 way back with the Diamond Princess in Japan in January. Then we had all the cruise ships in America. Then we had the previous ship, the previous Ruby Princess cruise, which was also really problematic with people unwell on board. So, okay, the Port Authority in Sydney's gone, you're not disembarking, stay where you are. Now, they contacted the Ruby Princess and also Carnival, like the office in Sydney, and there was no paperwork that they received, like in New South Wales Port Authority, from either the Ruby Princess or Carnival mentioning COVID-19 at any point. So, again, Four Corners were like, were these documents false? Sounds like they were. Anywho, based on the fact that there was no updated paperwork, even though the New South Wales Port Authority had contacted the ship and there was no updated figures, they ended up reversing their decision and at least agreed to let the 2 people who were sick get off the ship, and so the ambulances were brought back. It was 2:30 a.m. on the 19th of March that the ship docked. Both people were taken off the ship and taken straight to the hospital, and both of them later tested positive to COVID-19. So, yeah. And then there was footage of them all the passengers on the 19th disembarking, and they're walking along one of the outer walkways, and all of the crew are lined up and everyone's high-fiving and hugging the whole way. No social distancing at all. It's just, you just watch it going, "Arr, this is terrible." And then, of course, they all got herded off. There were no checks. One passenger said she got shuffled onto a bus and everyone on the bus was coughing, the whole bus. Yeah. So, yeah, that was, and then it sort of got into the finger pointing begins. Now, a few other things. They had they showed video footage of the president of Princess Cruises, Jan Schwartz. I've played her before, doing like a feel-goody video on behalf of Carnival and Princess Cruises, saying, for some reason our ships have been hit more than others. We don't know why, but we hope you still trust us and you'll still cruise with us. That's literally what she said. Why us? We don't know. We've got no idea. But you might want to come on a cruise. It was it was the weirdest thing. If I can find it, I'll play it, but I'll probably get a strike on my video. Does it ever go away? This is a big question. And this is how second waves start. And it is scary, Claire Bear. You're right. Both of you, Amanda and Claire. Hi, Annette, saying g'day on Facebook. Hello, gorgeous. But, yeah, so there's this woman who's always immaculately presented, and she's the one that did the big apology. But they've actually put out a marketing video to encourage people to keep cruising, because they only suspended their cruises for 60 days. When all this shit was happening, they're like, all right, we better chill out. So for the next 60 days, no cruising. And as we've talked about before, their next cruise is due to set sail on July the 4th. But there she is doing a video that was like a marketing video and was also playing on the ship. And it was like, yeah, don't know why we've been hit harder than anyone else. Why us? It reminded me of some interviews with some Americans after 9/11, and they were all on news bulletins and stuff going, why us? Why did the terrorists fly planes into our buildings? Why us? Why would anyone do that to us? And she's doing the same thing. Why us? We don't know why. It's a bit of bad luck, maybe. So, yeah, it was come on in, stop, don't you dare, and then get off the ship and just frolic around Sydney. You might remember one of our passengers that we talked about who had a driver booked to pick her up early in the morning, and they didn't end up all getting off the ship until what happened? She had someone coming early, then she was told they weren't going to get off early and it was going to be delayed. So she changed the driver to come and pick her up at midday. But the next thing, everyone was being forced off the ship, and she was stuck in Circular Quay for 4 hours just waiting for her driver to come and get her. And she's like, God, all the places I went and all the shops I went into and all of that sort of stuff. So there was right at the end mention of over 850 people. And you're right, Ruth. I reckon that does include crew. I don't know about the deaths, though. I can't find any information anywhere of at least 4 more deaths connected to the ship. We've talked about tuberculosis. There was a girl from the law firm Shine Lawyers in the Four Corners episode as well. They're the ones that are doing the class action. She was pretty interesting. And, the night before they disembarked, they did like a huge, on the ship, they did this huge last night party, and everyone's just like packed. They've got these big sort of spiral staircases and shitloads of people standing on them, and then all the crew wearing Hawaiian shirts and stuff. And they're all no social distancing or anything like that. And they were performing Sweet Caroline, and every time they sang Touching Me, Touching You, I was like, you couldn't write this shit. You could not write this shit. That was the big farewell song, Sweet Caroline. I think in terms of the Special Commission of Inquiry and also the police investigation, I think criminal negligence could be quite easy to prove. I think New South Wales Health is in a shitload of shit, and I think the Ruby Princess or Carnival Cruises and Princess Cruises, they are the standout biggest fucker-uppers from that. And they were kind of already a bit standouty bad news, but there's just even, you can go back to our Prime Minister saying no cruise ships are allowed to disembark in Australia, but we'll make an exception for that one that's just been to New Zealand and infected Napier. That one can come back, but anything else, we don't want to know about it. Production mark, I was on Ruby. Stop it. Enough is enough. Suddenly Australia is a victim of the cruise ships. Crying fault. Hang on, wait a sec. Production mark, good to have you here. I was on, why stop it? What, you don't want me to talk about how fucked up this all is? Are you okay with it? Suddenly Australia is a victim of the cruise ships. Crying fault play while the government is playing everyone with heroic actions while they take the crew members that tested negative and parade them with army police and all that while behind the cameras. No, I don't think I know everything about it. I'm watching it with interest and covering it with interest. You can stop being rude if you don't mind. Piggybacking on the TV networks, I'm talking about one show that I watched that is pretty damning about the Australian government, both federal and state, and how they fucked up. If you're actually listening to me, there's no blame ever being pointed at the crew. You have come into these lives on so many occasions talking about the crew. Not once have I ever blamed anyone on that ship as a crew member for anything that's happened, or a passenger. You don't know all these things. Well, you telling us that you were on the ship, you tell us what happened then. Me repeating what I've just watched on a TV show from a credible TV network in Australia, not some like crappy little current affairs show on a commercial TV station, who've just pointed out that the New South Wales Health Department, which I've just repeated, are looking pretty fucking bad in all of this, and our federal government is as well. And yeah, sorry, hate to break it to you, but the cruise line's not looking great either, especially the doctor. Then change the tone. I'm a bit monotone and I sound a bit gruff maybe. Sorry. It's kind of serious shit. You've been kind of trolling me and hassling me for quite a while over this. And again, why? It's a pretty small YouTube channel where we've just shown interest in it because a shitload of Australians have died as a result of that ship, and even more have been infected with COVID-19. Be impartial. Yeah, I kind of am at the moment. I've said from the start to you that I'm happy to wait for everything to come out. But at the moment, while I'm covering this and we're all just chatting about it, I am talking about things that are coming out. Even like the other day, a crew member that's tested for tuberculosis, unfortunately. It's still connected to the ship. It's still relevant. No, I don't know what it was like. I don't. I've just watched a show where there were a shitload of passengers talking about what it was like. I'd give you a link, but I don't like your tone. I think you're kind of hostile. Yeah, you did tell me that, but you didn't give me any way to contact you at all. So apart from potentially emailing you, if I found an email address on your YouTube channel, I had no other way of, you kept saying direct message me, which is not terminology for send me an email. Hi, Wayne. Pro sounds like a 50-cent CCP employee. And I'm not surprised to hear that, production Mark, at all. I wouldn't be surprised if this is going to have ongoing ramifications for a very long time. There were several passengers in the show that I watched who tested positive for COVID-19 who are potentially going to have serious PTSD type issues because of the enormous amount of guilt they feel about who they may have passed it on to or who might have died because they came in contact with them. The point is, yeah, I'm happy to wait for the point. I mean, you've come in all guns blazing so many times. It's like you're watching every possible thing you can on it, and for some reason you just lump us all into the same basket. I'm a tiny little YouTube channel. I haven't even got 200 subs. We're just interested in it because the biggest cluster of COVID-19 on the island where I live is all directly connected to this cruise ship. Sorry for taking an interest in something that affected people on the island where I live. I get you've got a closer connection to it, but you don't own the rights to be the only one to talk about it. And I feel like I've only ever come from a place of compassion, but also I'm inquisitive. I want to know what happened. And whoever ends up being held responsible, I don't have anything invested in this. I don't have anyone in this game that I'm concerned about. I'm not trying to protect anyone. I'm just watching this unravel with bewildered awe like most of us are. Well, yeah, that is possibly true. The passengers brought it in. I mean, someone had to bring it into the ship. Yeah, well, I think sometimes you need to actually listen to my things before you just come in getting all narky, if that's all right. Because you've kind of harassed me a lot in particular about the crew. And if you watch every single episode of this series, not once have I ever blamed the crew for anything. The only time I ever talked about the crew was when they were trying to identify what they were calling patient zero, which that terminology in itself was unusual, and we talked about that. And one of the theories postulated was in terms of the spread of it, and this was kind of maybe early April, this article, like there's a lot more known about COVID-19, even more now. But they were saying for it to spread so quickly, like it made sense. It could have been someone, a crew member who caught it off a passenger, and then the crew member assisted in it spreading because they were working in the kitchen. They were taking food out. That wasn't my fucking theory, though. That was just something that I talked about one time on my show. My tone is patronizing and yours is really aggressive. I don't mean to sound patronizing. It's kind of weird when you're sitting in a room on your own, talking to a camera, not actually having a one-on-one conversation or seeing anyone's facial expressions. I don't mean to sound patronizing. I'm just being firm with you because you've just had this constant need to come in with all guns blazing like I've blamed the crew for this, and not once have I. You'll let me swear? Thank you. Yeah, you're a generous troll. I know you're not a troll. I know that your channel is a genuine channel and it's much bigger than mine. And again, I don't quite know why. I mean, are you going to every channel that's covering this of the same stuff, or is it just me? Hey, Mel, cooking. Then adjust it. Well, my patronizing tone, I'll adjust it when you drop your arrogant tone. Who the fuck is this guy? Oh, I'm so tempted just to time you out because you're kind of exhausting me now. I'll take all of your comments on board. I know I sound monotone. I know I don't like the sound of my own voice, but I'm not. I don't think I'm being patronizing. The only person I feel like I've possibly been patronizing is to you, because you come in all antsy and screechy and you don't say very nice things. How the fuck do you want me to react to that? Oh, hi, it's Cheery Production Mark again. No, I took back the troll comment. Jesus, dude, you're kind of high maintenance. Thank you, Ruth. Ruth summed it up. Correct. I am Cherie. Thank you. Do you know how it is to go to work and be stuck with a deadly virus for more than a month? No, I don't. And I haven't claimed that I do, nor have I dismissed anyone that's been in that boat. Again, I think if you actually watched what I talk about and listened, you would know that unlike a lot of news reporters and journalists, I am actually coming from a place of compassion and empathy. So do I have to know what that's like to be able to talk about something that has bloody spread all over the world because of this one cruise ship? I mean, well, no. In fact, I think there's now, it was originally 6 cruise ships were linked to Australians having COVID-19. I think the number's now 8 cruise ships. Why can't I be interested in this? Why are you so proprietary about it? And like I asked you before, do you go to every channel discussing this, and are you the same with them? Yeah, he is. I agree. I mean, like I said, I've been open to having conversations with him. I've got several send me a direct message and was not given any information on how to direct message him, or her. I'm assuming it's a guy because of the mark. Like, it's actually a really cool channel name. I like that, but he's starting to be sweet, and I like that. Her tone is lovely and can't back off your troll. No, I don't think he is trolling, Deb. But you kind of do get my back up a bit, only because we haven't really had great chats. And when I was being really patient and respectful with you in comments under my videos, that's when you started opening up and saying that you would actually, I invited you to come on my channel, and that's when you started saying you'd be keen to talk. Whereas a lot of people would have just blocked you on the first day, you know. Like, I've been open to you educating me and filling me in on stuff and teaching me about things. I haven't maintained ever that I'm an expert on this. I'm just someone who's really interested in it. I'd love you to give me the story from the inside, but again, like, I don't know how I don't feel confident that putting you up on my channel, if you're going to talk to me like you do in chat, if you're going to be like that when I put you up on my panel, I don't want to be adversarial about this. I want you to tell us all what it's like. I think you've got a really amazing story to tell everyone. Australia is very naive about COVID-19 because Australia had the benefit of not getting it on our shores as quickly as other parts of the world. And as a result of that, like with New Zealand, we had the opportunity to bring in, you know, self-isolation, social distancing, all that sort of stuff. And it's actually worked here very well. And I was only saying to a friend of mine earlier on today about people who are impatient and it's all about what they want and not about what the planet needs right now. And they want everything, all the restrictions dropped and so on. I actually said to her that in a way I feel that if Australia had been hit a lot harder, people would probably be a lot less impatient, because we haven't had an experience of it like Spain, Italy, France, South Korea, Japan, China. I mean, you can list every country, America, or the US of A. Like, we haven't experienced the true graphic nature of it like other parts of the world. So I'm open to being educated like that, which is why I'm talking to friends of mine that live in the UK, one who's a nurse and another who's in the heart of London, so that I can hear from them what it's like to be in areas where this disease has been brutal, because it really hasn't in Australia. We've only gone over 100 deaths in the last week or two, and most parts of Australia haven't reported new cases for over 2 weeks. So I've been open about that as well. One person called you that, mate. You called me patronising and I didn't boot you out. If you can give it, you can call me patronising. You can handle one person in chat calling you a bully. Surely. Bye, Felicia. Did you get rid of him? Oh. Has he gone? What happened? Did he get timed out? Or is he still here? Because I don't want him, if he's still around, don't boot him. We'll time him out. But I don't mind if you have two, Mel. You've got a wrench. And so Cherie. Did Cherie wield her wrench? Hey, Cherie over. I'm just jumping back to Facebook land. Great coverage. Thank you. What do you think of my mate, Production Mark? He's not a fan of me. But yeah. I want to know about Mel. She's now chatting to Ruth. Thank you, Ruth, by the way. Thank you for your nice comments. You would have blocked him in the first 3 seconds. Well, no, the reason I didn't is because I've been communicating with him for probably not since I started the series, but quite early on. He was putting comments under my videos, and so I've been chatting with him a fair bit, and it got to the point where he was asking me to direct message him, because I actually said to him, I'm even happy for you to come up and chat about your experience and tell us all about it. And he kept saying to direct message him, but he didn't give me any details on how to do that. So that's where it kind of ended. And unfortunately, a few other things came along in the meantime, like me applying for jobs and all sorts of shit that kind of got in the way with doing Ruby Princess updates. And also there just wasn't much to report on. So I just been waiting for things to go live about. But yeah, so I kind of felt like I was pretty reasonable with him, even though he was writing some pretty scathing stuff under my videos. And I was feeling quite good about myself that I'd got to a point that I thought he and I could have actually had a really good chat. But right from the start, he's been screaming at me to stop picking on the crew, and I never have. That was the issue that I couldn't get past. But tonight I'm patronising as well, so I don't know. I kind of want to have production Mark on. I'm curious, but I'm also not confident that he's not going to be snarky. And he's definitely way more authorised to talk about this than I am. I'm very aware of that. But there's just a bit of my hinky meters just on my, just get a bit, not rattled. I'm just a bit wary, because if you want to go back and have a look at earlier episodes of mine and have a look at some of the comments he left under them, they're not great at all. Oh, man, you can do great things with your wrench, Cherie. Thank you, Ruth. Very patient and fair. Thank you. Where did she come? Yeah, I did just answer that. Look, Biscuit's over there licking her butt for everyone. That's always nice. I'll try and block her. I know I've got a really monotone voice. I know that I drone on. In one of the episodes from my podcast, if you haven't listened to it, listen to the one where I'm talking about drones. I actually drone through the whole thing. Ironically, I couldn't be more drony, and I'm aware of that, but I think my voice tends to be more animated when I'm talking to someone. But when you're just sitting in a room talking into a camera, I know there's comments in chat that I can read and respond to. But yeah, and I do hear myself getting really drony, and I go, come on, animate. And I used to have to do that when I did radio too. Like I had to remind myself to add inflections. But I don't. It sucks that it comes across as patronising. I tend to think I sound more grumpy or tired than patronising, but I'll make a note of that. So I'm actually down for feedback. It doesn't bother me at all. But I just, production Mark and I have got a bit of a history, and we made progress, and I was feeling quite good about it. But there's just something about me that really pisses him off. So I don't know why he keeps coming back. It's kind of like listening to a song on the radio to the very end, even though you can't stand it, I think. But, I'd love to hear what production Mark has to say. I just don't think we're starting on a level playing field. And I don't know, maybe some drama on my channel is what I need to make it grow, because like 130 subs, I'm hardly threatening in the YouTube world. Most people don't even know this channel exists. If he cares so much, he can run his own channel. Well, he's got a channel, and it's really cool. I actually checked it out. Like, he's legit, and it's cool. And the name Production Mark has a lot to do with what is on that channel. I'm pretty sure from memory, over 2,000 subscribers, like different league to me. Massively different league to me. Because that was my first instinct. That's why I don't call him a troll, because trolls usually have 1 or 2 subscribers and they have a name like Peekaboo Bumpkin or something, like they're not using a professional name. But but I also know that plain text can come across as being really blunt and patronising too, but I would never call people that. Like, it pisses me off that he thinks I'm patronising. I mean, if I am, let me know. I'll tone it down. I don't know how I am. Am I patronising because I'm saying this is a really fucked up story and a lot of people have fucked up? Why is that patronising? Anywho. Thank you, Claire Bear. I don't think I am, and I'm sorry if I sound it. He's big on my... Yeah, that's it, Ruth. Yeah, you do have a wrench, but you're not actually. So just because you said fuck off or whatever, said Mel, I was like, did she? What was it? Bye, Felicia. Tung, out he goes. Yeah, as you know, I actually, and also for Deb, who was in chat, I don't know if she's still around or not. She might have left after he made an appearance. The one who called him a troll and a bully, but well, I think I called him a troll originally and then redacted that pretty quickly. But what was I going to say for Deb? Something. I don't know, forgotten. But yeah, I don't mind trolls even. That's what I was going to say. I don't even mind trolls in chat. Some of my trolls have been my favourite moments in going live on YouTube. Sometimes you get the opportunity for some really good one-liners. I mean, not that this is necessarily the right subject matter for one-liners, especially not with Production Mark. I don't think Production Mark's down for that. But isn't that interesting? Like, imagine if I was cracking jokes. That'd be worse than me being patronising if I was just being disrespectful and cracking cruise ship jokes, you know. Anyway, what else can we talk about? He threw me. There's a lot of chatting going on. There's a whole lot of chatting going on. Thank you, Claire Bear. Thank you, Ruth. He should be offended by the cat porn in the back. Well, he should. Yes, he should. The only bully was him. Well, you know, you got to be a bit more than just, you know, popping into a YouTube channel and saying some snarky stuff to be a bully, don't you? But he has been a bit persistent with me. Like, it's obviously he's got first-hand experience of it, which is why I'm kind of interested to chat to him. But it's just a bit high maintenance for me. Like, I was really respectful of the comments he left on my channel, even though they were pretty nasty. In an informed, pissed off kind of way, not in a you suck kind of way. Like, his comments were coming from a place of hurt. It was obvious. But yeah, that's my drama. I've got some drama on my YouTube channel. Woohoo! Drama sells on YouTube. That's why I don't have 50,000 subscribers. Maybe he'll get me a new subscriber. Back to the virus. Did you see my comment on it activating dormant TB? Do I sound like a bossy bully? No, you don't. Did I see your comment? I've got to scroll back. I got caught up. Sorry. Your intelligent comment got lost. Not that his comments aren't intelligent. You know, like, if he genuinely has had to live with this, don't you reckon that'd be interesting? You guys are also cute. I'm starting to see. I've just saw his comment. Now you're starting to be sweet, and I like that. I thought I was sweet all along. Cherie. Where's your comment, love? Maybe you need to retype it. I don't think I can see it. Oh, there's a report that some coronavirus strains can activate dormant TB. Huh, okay. That is interesting, Cherie. Trust me, you don't want drama. Oh, yes, I do. I do. Yeah, I mean, come on. I reckon that's probably the only drama I'm going to have, though, Claire. Drama, exactly, Wayne. Things are looking up. Go me. How's everyone over in Facebook world? Have you all been enjoying watching? So over in Facebook, Marilyn has said, come back, Production Mark. She's awesome, but don't run away. All ears, come on. You can cut it. Want to hear your story. Rank Fanctimus. Hi, Rank Fanctimus. I love your lamp. Which one, Groover? The one to that side that's not on, the Diana lamp, or the one to that side? Or is it this way because of the camera being flipped around? Oh, hang on. I think the camera is showing the right thing. Yes. So is it the big one or is it the little Diana lamp over there? Who the hell's Rank Fanctimus? Hi. You have to be a friend of mine on Facebook to be on Facebook. Who are you? I honestly didn't know I knew anyone called Rank Fanctimus. Now I do. Stage left. That one. The big one. Yeah. So your theatrical Rank Fanctimus. I'll have to find out who you are later on. You have changed your name. Hang on. I can go to another. I don't remember how you spelled it. I'm just hoping it'll come up. I'm not going to read out your details. I'm just... okay, got it. Cool. Good to have you here, Grover. How are you doing? How you doing? Tori, what have I told you about passing people off? Only... All right, now I'm really confused. Who? What have I done? Well, ... Okay, the rest of that sentence is coming. Hey, did anyone want to talk about Trump? I'm pretty sure my little buddy who was with us earlier is Canadian. But just in case I'm wrong, which is surprising if I can't remember why I even think that. But it's kind of surprising if he is, because usually Australians and Canadians, in terms of sense of humour, we're a bit, we get it, like there's a reason Schitt's Creek resonated with so many Aussies, because it's Canadian humour. Someone said to me, fuck, Schitt's Creek is so funny. I didn't realise Americans could be that funny. I'm like, because they're not, it's Canadian. It's not just, and don't get me wrong, there's some American shows I think are funny. Oh, pissing people off. Okay, I was thinking, who did I pass off? Why is my ear red? Oh, it's my lamp. Don't worry, I'm not bleeding. I've got a red lamp. See how my fingers are red? Woo, magic. It's my lamp. But yeah, cheers, Rank. I'm glad you like my lamp. Lady of the lamp. Surely this is enough now of Trumpy. Oh, I know. I so want to play this thing I shared on my Facebook page today. But I'll get a strike. But fuck me dead. Yeah, you loot, we shoot. The looting, I understand the anger and the pot has been boiling for a long time and has boiled over many times, understandably. The looting one's kind of interesting because at the end of the day, I just keep thinking the real issue, and I put something on Facebook about this too, is that you need to prioritise. Like, the looting isn't good and the rioting isn't good, but neither is the murdering of innocent black men and women. So, I kind of put the murder stuff first, but I think the rioting, if people think it's going to bring about change and it's worth doing it, go for it. I have an issue with the people who go to peaceful protests when something's trending, but don't do anything about it other than go to the peaceful protest. I don't think that makes any fucking changes happen at all. Someone might want to debate that with me and disagree, but I really don't. Like, I think it's good for people to feel that they're showing the world that there are people out there who care, but I don't think it brings about change. Could be an unpopular opinion. I've been to peaceful protests myself, but I think if you're only going to whatever's kind of trending at the time and you're not doing anything else about it other than that, then it's It might make you feel good, but it's not changing anything, is it? But the rioting side of things, I'm kind of concerned. I've seen a lot of people on Facebook condemning that, but not even mentioning George Floyd's name. And don't get me wrong, I mean, my background's criminal law. I don't think anyone should take anything that isn't theirs. But it's not riling me to the extent that these constant murders of innocent people, and also the same shit that happens in Australia, is just not pissing people off. You know, like I see someone commenting about the rioting and looting, or the looting is what I keep meaning to say, by the way, the looting of, you know, all the high-end Gucci stores and all of that sort of stuff. And it's like, I don't think that person's ever posted anything about how many Indigenous Australians die in custody and how many convictions have there not been for people who let them die and who murdered them. You know, why isn't that fucking them off? So, yeah, I mean, I could go nuts on that topic. I wonder how production Mark would find me then. But, yeah, that's just my views, and I'm always open for conversations. I just don't think I'm prepared. I need something happy to end this on. Can we go somewhere happy? What's something happy we can end this episode on after that little monologue of how I feel? I mean, I would like to talk about what's going on in the States. But I just think people's priorities are a bit skewed. And when you've got the immediate family members of George Floyd asking for this to stop, you know, if people are qualified to have a strong opinion about this, surely his family are the most qualified. But I fully understand why the riots are happening. I fully understand that boiling pot overflowing again. I get it. Like, enough is enough. How long can this keep happening? But where's the irate? Where's the rage for what happens in our own country? Why are Australians going off to peaceful protests for George Floyd, but not giving a fuck about what's happening in our own country? And even worse, the ones that are pissed off about Gucci being looted but haven't even uttered George's name. We could go down this road. Maybe not tonight. I'm feeling a little bit bruised. Can we end on something fun? One of Production Mark's comments was it's 5:41 that would line up with Canada. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so I don't think I'm going to get berated for talking about Trump in an unflattering light. But, yeah, there's a video that I put on my Facebook page. Anyone who's my Facebook buddies, of people at a Trump rally. You will lose brain cells if you watch it, but fucking hell, it's super funny and also terrifying at the same time. But I highly recommend it. I'd love to play it, but I know I'll get... What will I get? I might get a strike. Or will I get a strike? TV networks tend to strike. It's not worth it. But if you're a friend of mine on Facebook, check it out. Actually, I'll put the link in here. It was an interesting... I still want to talk about Production Mark. I still want to talk about Production Mark with this comment about, do you know what it's like to live with a deadly disease? That kind of irritates me, that sort of attitude, because I'm not claiming to be an authority on this. I would actually not love to know. I nearly got excited and went, love to know. I would love to speak to someone, though, who's had it, which is why I put my friend Matt on one of my lives the other day, because we've all been talking about it in Australia, but it just hasn't, thank God, but it just hasn't blasted us like it has other countries, but I also felt it was really important for us to chat with someone who's living in a place where it's been, it's just decimated the population. And Matt's in the heart of London. And it was, to me, that was so interesting. The same with another friend of mine in the UK who's a nurse. And I was asking him about what it's like going to work. And he was incredibly vocal with me about, don't you dare call me a hero. And not that I had, but, he did this whole speech about this is just my job. It's what I signed up for and so on. And that doesn't mean if you want to call our frontline workers heroes, go for it. Like, just don't call Phil that. I sang 2 hero songs. I sang Wind Beneath My Wings with a lot of emphasis on Did You Ever Know That You're My Hero? And then I sang And Then a Hero Comes Along. And I think it was the second song when he hung up on me. But I think it's important, and I would love to talk to somebody who's survived COVID-19, not because it's horrible, I'm prepared for that. But what's with the attitude that unless you've lived through it, you can't have any compassion or empathy for those who have, or any understanding? Like, I can educate myself. I don't know what it feels like personally, but does that completely invalidate me being inquisitive about it and wanting to learn more about it or talking about it, like in terms of a cruise ship that was fucking riddled with it? Like, I'm not on here going, it's not as bad as the flu. If I'd said that, then fair enough, tell me to get fucked. I'm telling anyone who tells me it's not as bad as the flu to get fucked. I'm down with that. But I don't like that kind of attitude of, if you haven't lived it, you shouldn't be discussing it at all. I'm inquisitive. I want to know shit. I'd never go live and talk about what it's like to give birth because I never have. But I've still asked friends of mine who have what it was like, and I want the gory details. I don't want the little, it's wonderful, it's the best thing you'll ever do shit. I want to know how revolting it is, if it's revolting. But I'd never go live and go, giving birth's a piece of cake. But I still think I could ask about it, right? Right, what was I doing? Getting you the link to that Trump rally. If you want to lose a few brain cells, I thoroughly recommend it. Oh, my God. I know someone that had twin girls today. That must be weird. Babies in captivity. I mean, now that restrictions are being lifted and stuff, but these are all, what about the ones that are born or celebrating turning 13 in 2033, the quarantinis? That term was used on my channel by someone before. In fact, I haven't actually seen anyone else use it. All right, I'm going to get this link for you, and then I'm going to get the hell out of here.
At a Trump rally? Yeah. Good luck.
You need to watch this. Unless you love Trump. No, especially if you love Trump. I'm going to pop it in the Facebooks. Hey, thanks, Jane Anderson, with my this, whatever you call it. Hey, happy belated birthday. I'm the worst at the moment for birthdays. I see them in the morning. I go, right, I've got to contact that person and wish them a happy birthday. I post a little photo of Biscuit in the Pets of Isolation thing. I send a couple of close people in my life little cheery messages every morning, and then I all day go, I've got to call that person and wish them a happy birthday. And then I wake up the next morning and I'm like, fuck, I'm so sorry. Happy belated birthday. All right, here's the link for the people in Facebook. But it is on my Facebook page already. So you could have just looked on there. And then over here in YouTube land, seriously, guys, watch with bewildered awe and horror. In particular, zone in on the guy who hates Barack Obama because he was nowhere to be seen as president of the United States when 9/11 happened. Yeah. Also, the lady that gets posed a question about fucking little pigs, you'll enjoy her too. All right. Do. A happy topic. Biscuit's bum is clean, and Biscuit's on the mend too. I had a very anxious few days with her being very unwell. You can probably see on that table over there flowers. My lovely friend Jo sent me a bunch of flowers today, and they rocked up and they were wrapped as one big bunch of flowers. But when I opened them up, they were like 3 individual bunches all wrapped together. And then there was even a little tiny the little cornflower or the Aster daisies. I always get them mixed up. But, yeah, so there's 3 vases at the back, and I am actually going to distribute them, but I styled that to get a photo of them earlier. But Biscuit, she put they always get flowers, with a ribbon, but she asked for an extra ribbon because Biscuit loves ribbons, and she also loves brown paper. That down on the floor is part of her brown paper bed that she's made herself. So she's got 2 new ribbons as well. How cute's that? And how cool is it that a florist did an amazing looking bunch of flowers, and then when you unravel it to put it into a vase, it actually was individual. It's gorgeous. So spoiled. Copyright infringement, yeah. Do not play it, says Ruth. Well, I've put the link. You can all watch it later. It is so bad, it's hilarious. Nice work. Don't know what that was for. My daughter working on the front line. Yeah, they don't want to be called heroes. Or patronising. I've got to start. I got a breakup letter on my YouTube channel from someone who decided they could no longer watch me because even though everything they said apparently was humorous, even though a shitload of it was kind of offensive, when it was, sort of sleazy comments aimed at friends of mine and stuff like that, I got a bit of a breakup letter. Apparently the defense was I was being silly the whole time, not me, them. And I'm like, yeah, but all the things that I've said that you don't like, every single one of those was a really dry, sarcastic, tongue-in-cheek comment. So I got dumped by a viewer. So I'm going to save all these things and put them all together. So I've written down patronising. I do sound monotone. I know that. I can't listen to much of Smooth Criminal, but when I'm editing it, like my little weekly funny episodes, just listening to my voice for the hour or 2 hours it takes me to edit it, I just go, ugh. When I did radio, if I went into a shop and they were playing the station and my voice came on in a promo or something from the breakfast show that morning, I just hightail it the fuck out of there. Awful. I'm like, yeah. And thank you. And giving birth hurts, by the way. But I imagine it would. We do live in the lucky country. But, Australia's fucked up too, Wayne. We all know that too. Like, we've got our issues. Amanda, you just watched it. Isn't it great? Scary and hilarious at the same time. It is. It is. I thought Biscuit was at my feet. She's still sound asleep behind me. Was it a UTI? And G-strings. You have about 20. Yeah, I've got a shitload too, but the one that got me was one really recently, and it was completely different to a copyright where they can basically take your AdSense and stuff off you, which doesn't bother me because I'm not monetized. I had one the other day, though, that was completely unique, and it was YouTube kind of said we can edit it out or you can mute it, but it had a completely different. I'll have to bring up the email and find it. It was a new. It wasn't a new thing, but it was next level. We're actually really fucked off with you, and it's not just about us getting money. It's like your video is now hidden until you fix this sort of stuff. It was interesting. Exactly. Sorry, I just got to your monetized comment. Doesn't do much at all, but this one in particular, they were really feisty. It was like your video is now gone till you edit out this shit. Oh, Biscuit's health issue. She's got 2, which my vet is hoping that one is causing the other. They're not two separate issues she just happens to have, because I had to go and pick up more meds for her today. And don't get me wrong, I would have drawn down on my mortgage to pay the bill if I had to. But fuck, I should have been a vet. The cost of everything that's happened. But anyway, I went to get meds today for her. And I was thinking, yeah, $30, $40, $133. Like, I don't drink, but my God, think of what I could have bought with that. I've never spent that much on a bottle of wine. $133. And that's got, like, don't even get me started on the actual bill. But anyway, she's got an overactive thyroid, so she's got hyperthyroidism, and she's also got cardiomyopathy, but feline, obviously, for both. But the vet is hoping her thyroid has caused the heart disease and problems. So she's on meds. The worst thing about it is I've got to take her back in 3 weeks, and because she's such a bad behaved cat at the vet, they'll probably have to anaesthetize her again to do all the tests and everything. So when she comes home, like, she was quite placid this time because she felt so bad, but this time she's bounced back. She's back to her normal self. And she was so pissed off with me on Friday night when I brought her home, and till about mid-afternoon on Saturday, she was really shitty with me. So, yeah, 3 weeks it's going to be... I'm hoping that she's actually really chill and they don't have to put her under. But I'm certainly going to ask they don't do another fucking ultrasound, because the cost of that was insane. Insane. Like, my grocery bills for nearly a month was just the ultrasound. Insane. Hi, Serenity B. Rewatch. Fast forward to the arrival of production Mark and see how I handled him. It's all right. He's not a fan of me. He hasn't been since he first discovered my channel was covering the Ruby Princess, along with 58,000 other ones. So expensive. Yes. Oh, Amanda. Yes. Yes. We've had those conversations, and yeah, it's incredible what we'll spend to keep them alive, isn't it? I'm still thinking of you. We need to have a chat, you and I, if you're up for it. Can't get pet insurance, Darls, because, Melmo, because when I rescued Biscuit, when I adopted her, I signed a contract acknowledging that she had been at her biggest 12 kilos. Well, I didn't sign that, but acknowledging she'd been obese and as a result had the potential to have a lot of health issues. But the most sort of obvious one that got flagged was diabetes. And I kind of had to acknowledge that I was taking on this cat that could potentially have all kinds of problems because of her once gigantic girth. Actually, that's what I'm going to end on. I'm going to show you a photo of her. That's going to be the easiest way to find it. I'll go... I'm going into Messenger, but yeah, you need to see Biscuit at 12 kilos. As one friend described, a magnificent beast, putting it nicely. But when I end, I'll show you Biscuit at 12 kilos. Majestic as fuck. $6K. Yeah, I'm not at $6K. I'm near $4K, but that's not all vet expenses. That was also adopting her, getting all of her specialist food, sticking an enclosure out on the deck, her urinary tract infection, and now this latest. I mean, this latest alone is going to go over $2,000 in 3 weeks. But Yep, anything to keep him alive. But yeah, I wish I had been better at science subjects at school. I would have loved to have been a vet. Exactly. Salmon and avocados. Me too. Such a diva. 6K. You can go on a cruise with that. Nice comment, Cherie. That's awesome. Was he a troll? No, he's not a troll. He's got a good YouTube channel and he does good stuff. He just doesn't like me talking about the Ruby Princess or my voice or how patronizing I am. He did acknowledge he liked me when I was sweet. We've had if you want the full story, you need to look at all the other videos I've done where he's commented under them to sort of watch our relationship bloom and grow. And we did talk about him coming on the show, but yeah, I just didn't feel that he was going to be easy to. I mean, the beauty of working in radio is that we got to pre-record people that we thought were going to be a bit difficult. And I am interested in his story. I mean, I guess I could build a bit of a rapport and relationship with him offline. And when I feel like we're at a good place, he can come up. But there's just a bit of hostility. And I think because he got called a bully tonight and he left, I think the hostility's gone way back up again. So gigantic girth, indeed. Well, it is only money. You're right, Amanda, but you've also got to have it, you know. Like, I mean, I was just fortunate I just sold my camper van and had the money, but I don't think most people, and I don't like the attitude if you can't afford a vet bill, you shouldn't have a pet, because vet bills can be out of the blue. Like you're saying, $6,000. Like I don't think anyone, you know, so you can get some animals that never have any health issues at all, apart from maybe needing their teeth cleaned and, you know, worming treatment and stuff. But it's more maybe I could have organised payment plans with the vet, you know, maybe those options are available too, but it's not that so much. It's just like, how can you charge $845 for $345 for an ultrasound? Which part of giving them the ultrasound is the expensive bit? Where's Cherie? Explain this to me. And then you pay for the extra angles they take ultrasounds from. Why isn't it included in the $345? And don't get me wrong, the vet's great and I love Biscuit and I'll pay it, but it's, you know, there's no Medicare for vet bills, and I can't get pet insurance because she's already potentially going to get all kinds of shit wrong with her. She's actually walking out of the room. She don't like me talking about her. That's his program. Not everyone's cup of tea. Well, this is true, but, you know, I don't know what it is about me, but I kind of like to win people over when they don't like me at the start, because I'm not being a dickhead. Now I will sound like a fuckwit, but there's not many people that I clash with when I first meet them. So the ones that I do, I'm fascinated by them because they kind of intrigue me that I rub them up the wrong way that much. And I know that the older I'm getting, I'm probably pissing more people off. But for the majority of my life, I've only ever had two people that I've just had a really instant with. We just didn't get each other or like each other at all. So I've always kind of tried to win people like that over. Or I've had clients in the past when I was practicing law that were naturally very fucked off by the time they got to see me. And you kind of have to chip down through all that tension and pent-up anger and, you know, health issues that they've been battling with for years, and then they end up with you, and by then they're just sick of the system and everything. You know, like I'm used to the people that have got a difficult story or that have an issue at the start. I thrive on chipping away at them and getting them to at least smile or laugh. So, yeah, and I have had these communications with him, and I think he could add a lot to my show in terms of information for all of us. But there's just this, you know, come on in, say g'day, chill out a bit. But watch it back. There's just a lot of bang, 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 and let's talk chooks. Don't keep chooks. Couldn't find a vet. Had to. As in off with their heads. You had an ultrasound and it was $245 and you're much bigger. But did you get charged with another $110 for the other angles? All right. Speaking of biscuit, I'm about to fat shame my cat. Can you see? Yes, you can. I'll expand it a bit. Can you see the majestic beast that is Biscuit at about 12 kilos? Lexi, who was over on Facebook before, I hope you don't mind me showing this photo, Lexi. She gave me some. I've got a lot of history of Biscuit's history and photos and stuff from Lexi, and that was B at probably 12 kilos. She was just under 9 when she came home with me, and she got weighed the other day. She's gone ISO flatline. She's on 6.2 still. She hasn't budged. What's the term, when you do a diet for a while and then you just and you've got to basically shock your body again to re-kick your metabolism. It's not flatlining. That's not the right expression. But you know what I mean? Like you could just yeah, she hasn't put on any weight in ISO, but she hasn't lost any more either. But look at her. Majestic floof. Don't know what's happened on Facebook. It kind of looks like I've frozen or something over there. I'm actually just going to close out. Sorry if anyone's on Facebook. It's frozen. Plateau. That's the word. Yeah, that's a whole lot of biscuit, isn't it? I've never seen a cat with cheeks. So this is the note I want to end on. Thank you so much, Lexi, if you're still watching, for sending me these. Fluffy. Lord, I know, poor girl. I've never seen a cat with cheeks. It's a lot of biscuit. Your cat's the fattest she's ever been at 19 and a half years, and she's 3.5 kilos. That's not a biscuit, that's a cake. Oh, hang on. Where are you, Bubs? She's back. I thought she was fluent in Vietnamese, but she seems to understand English too. She has lost a lot. Thank you. We need to. Serenity B, thank you. Beautiful cat. Thank you. I'm picking all the nice comments. She is so pretty. She's gorgeous. You're mean. Where are you, B? Oh, she's now on the ottoman behind you. Hang on, I'll Can you see her? Biscuit? Hey, gorgeous. They want to see you. She looks like a completely different cat now. Well, I mean, she's still got some facial expression. She hasn't got cheeks anymore. She's gorgeous. But, yeah, that's a good note to end on, I think. And I would like to thank everyone for joining me this evening. And that includes production Mark. I'm determined. If I can get us chatting in a way that I think, I'm happy even just to give him the stage and just let him do a monologue and just tell us all what it's like. I mean, I've had people flash their boobs on my channel. I think I can handle having a guy getting a bit feisty, but yeah, it's Biscuit. Let's focus on Biscuit. She is gorgeous. She's turned her back on me because she's pissed off. She knows I go live. Like when I'm setting up to do things, she starts getting all, oh God, she's not going to talk to me for the next couple of hours. But when I shut this down, something else I'd really like to talk about too another time. The Jeffrey Epstein Netflix show, the 4-episode series on him, Filthy Rich. I've watched that on the weekend, and I've got so many things I'd like to say about that show. I might even do a Smooth Criminal podcast special episode on that. I recommend you watch it because even though it's graphic and horrific, it's so good that his victims are finally being heard, and it's acknowledged that they are in the show, but not in a it's not in an over top way, but just the importance of them being heard, and fuck the corruption and stuff that's exposed, and it's insane. It is insane. But yeah, I'd really like to do just maybe a one-off on that, because the prick, didn't have to face justice, and those girls were incredible. But yeah, it's really worth watching. As unsavory, I got way more out of the Jeffrey Epstein thing than I did out of Tiger King. Tiger King just made me really sad for all the animals and angry at how they were treated. But the Jeffrey Epstein one, like, it's so powerful that these girls finally get to be heard, but it's just done in such a respectful way. There's a lot of thoughtfulness and love for the girls in it, but not. It's really hard to explain it if you haven't seen it. Has anyone seen it? Maybe someone in chat's seen it. You got to watch it. I thoroughly recommend you do. Who was taken out by Rasputin? Oh, Epstein? Yeah, it was fun chatting. Thanks for joining. Thanks to everyone on Facebook too. Sorry I had to bail out of the live, but it had frozen, and it was really nice to see people over there. Facebook's weird. Well, it's not weird, but I know some people just sort of listen on Facebook. It tells you that you're being watched, but you don't really get to see many comments. Oh, Annette, sorry, she's still over. Sorry, Facebook's just whooshoo. Yeah, you watched it last night. What did you think, Annette? I'll stay on Facebook for a sec. It's worth watching, despite how fucking horrific he is, and all the people who knew him and loved him. But there was stuff about the story I didn't know, and there were things that he said to the girls that at the end it all kind of gets explained why he was saying those things, and it's like, oh, I didn't know that. I didn't really follow it that closely when he was arrested, and I was aware that he died, and I was aware of was he murdered, did he do it himself, and they cover that as well. But yeah, the girls getting their voice, or women, they're women now, and they're incredible. They're all incredible. They've all got their own story. It's really good. Yeah, I agree with you, Annette. It does make you feel angry, and the corruption part of it is just mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. And I still don't get why. I don't get the extent of the corruption. I can see middle ground corruption because of his wealth, but how it went to that next level, and anyway, I don't want to be a spoiler, but watch it, people. So if you're into true crime kind of stuff, you'll find it interesting, and yeah, better than Tiger King. Tiger King left me feeling incredibly heartbroken, and it's called Filthy Rich. It actually says Filthy Rich, and then underneath it says the story of Jeffrey Epstein or something. But yeah, Filthy Rich. And he was filthy. And he was filthy rich. Serenity B. So yeah, we should have a chat sometime too about that. Serenity B. See ya, pork chop. The cover-ups, yeah, it was sickening. It was, but also how he, again, I don't want to do spoilers, but how he had so much over everyone else as well. I'd love to do a live about it. I'd love to particularly talk about the Prince Andrew aspect of it, because that's one of the reasons I watched it, because I was really interested to see how they handled that. And they were like, here it is. It's like, fuck. We'll talk about that sometime very soon. But Serenity B, yeah, it wasn't that I wasn't interested in following it. I can't remember. Somebody else died or something happened around the same time that gripped me a lot more. Can't remember now. But yeah, let's chat about that sometime soon. I'd love someone to join me on the panel and talk about it who knows more about it than I do from watching 4 episodes of that. But it's a good show. I recommend it. I mean, it's good if you like watching things that get you fired up. And I wasn't affected as psychologically by it as much as I was. I think because I've been exposed, unfortunately, to that kind of shitty behaviour being a criminal lawyer. I was finding the show The Fall, I was having nightmares from that. I've stopped watching it. Like, that really fucked with my head for some reason. And it's fiction. But I think it's because I just couldn't handle the suspense. I think COVID-19 and self-isolating, everyone's kind of managing anxiety without realising how much anxiety we're all experiencing, just watching all this shit happening the world over, and not just the Ruby Princess, but, you know, the whole COVID-19, what's happening in America right now in the US of A. Like, it's all just, you couldn't possibly not be feeling a level of anxiety, even if you think you're fine. Yeah, it's and also just the wealth, like the wealth. I can't even fathom people having that kind of wealth, and he's not even closest to the wealthiest, wasn't closest to the wealthiest person on the planet, but even his level of wealth, just mind-blowing. Anywho, thanks everyone for joining in. See you over on Facebook. Annette, you might be the only one. We're the only one chatting. Well, this says there's 2 of you. I can see the icon for 2. Thanks to everyone in Facebook as well. I mean, on YouTube as well. I would like to thank everyone, including you, Production Mark. I'm not giving up on us having a civil conversation at some point in time. I think we've just got off to a bad start. Anyway, on that note, take care, everyone. Love you heaps. Stay groovy. And I might go live from the beach tomorrow on my Right Now with Tori channel if anyone wants to come for a stroll. Facebook people, I can't go live over on Facebook land when I go on the beach. I use a completely different program to broadcast and go live on YouTube. But my other channel is called Right Now with Tori, and if you feel like coming for a beach walk and a chat, you're more than welcome. I'm working on my taxes tomorrow, so I'll need some fresh air. But until next time, stay groovy, everyone. Take care. Thanks again for hanging out, and I'll be back sometime soon with another Ruby Princess update. So true, Serenity Bay. And I probably was being a little bit cheeky at the end too, that I am very conscious of what other people are going through. In particular with what happened on the channel tonight. When you rewatch it, you'll know you're kind of a protected species right now. You haven't seen it. Anyway, on that note, once again, yeah, stay cool, everyone. Don't get hit by, don't get struck by a smooth criminal. See you soon. I always do a really